Quantum currency, the truth behind the digital transformation. Part 2. If you have not seen Part 1, please save this video for later and click the link for Part 1 in the description. Chapter 6. Practical implications for consciousness communities. Understanding quantum currency fundamentally transforms how aligned communities approach resources, exchange, and provision. Instead of competing for limited conventional currency, communities generate unlimited quantum currency through consciousness alignment. This shift requires understanding several key concepts that distinguish quantum currency from conventional economic thinking. Quantum currency generation operates through what we might call consciousness coherence, the degree to which community members align their awareness with divine purposes and each other. When individuals practice collective divine sensing, they create unified quantum mass that attracts needed resources from sources often unknown to the participants themselves. This differs from traditional fundraising or resource acquisition because it works through spiritual alignment rather than human networking or marketing strategies. The process begins when community members gather in collective divine sensing. The practice of seeking God's will together through synchronized prayer, contemplation, and spiritual discernment. During these sessions, consciousness naturally aligns around divine purposes that serve both individual growth and collective mission. This alignment creates what quantum physics would recognize as coherent wave functions. Consciousness operating in harmony rather than interference patterns. As coherence develops, shared purpose alignment generates gravitational fields, drawing opportunities that serve the community's divine calling. These opportunities often appear as coincidences or open doors that provide exactly what the community needs at precisely the right timing. The gravitational effect operates beyond linear cause and effect, drawing resources from unexpected sources and creating solutions that human planning alone could not generate. Immediate presence practices access infinite divine provision rather than finite material resources. When community members maintain the divine breath rhythm, inhaling immediate presence and exhaling immediate faith, they connect consciousness with the invariant set, which contains unlimited creative potential. This connection enables what traditional economics would consider impossible: resource multiplication, supernatural provision, and abundance that exceeds input through divine multiplication rather than human efficiency. Flow-based circulation multiplies quantum currency through divine economics principles. Unlike conventional currency that depletes when spent, quantum currency multiplies when circulated according to divine flow. This happens because consciousness aligned with source accesses infinite provision, so giving from this alignment draws more provision rather than creating shortage. Communities discover that sharing resources according to divine guidance results in increased abundance for everyone involved. The interface with conventional systems requires what we might call quantum currency translation, the ability to bridge between consciousness-based and material-based economic systems. Communities develop bridge mechanisms that allow quantum currency benefits to manifest within conventional financial frameworks while maintaining the spiritual integrity of consciousness-based operations. These bridge mechanisms often take the form of businesses, services, or products that serve both divine purposes and market needs. Community members discover that work performed from consciousness alignment tends to be more effective, creative, and valuable than effort generated from human striving alone. This superiority translates into conventional financial success that supports community operations while demonstrating quantum currency effectiveness to external observers. Demonstration value becomes crucial as communities show conventional systems the superior effectiveness of consciousness-based economics. When communities consistently experience provision, solution finding, and abundance through consciousness alignment, surrounding individuals and organizations become curious about the principles involved. This curiosity opens doors for teaching quantum currency concepts to audiences that might otherwise resist spiritual or consciousness-based approaches. Gradual transformation helps external systems recognize and adopt quantum currency principles without forcing sudden changes that could create resistance or rejection. Communities serve as living laboratories where consciousness-based economics can be observed and tested by curious outsiders. As results speak for themselves, external systems often begin incorporating elements of consciousness-based decision-making and resource allocation. Prophetic witness reveals kingdom economics as practical alternative to scarcity-based systems. Communities operating on quantum currency principles provide tangible proof that consciousness, aligned with divine principles, produces superior results in every area of life, including material provision and economic sustainability. This witness often becomes more convincing than verbal arguments or theoretical presentations. Chapter 7. The Kingdom Economy Emerging. As consciousness awakens to quantum currency reality, kingdom economy naturally emerges. This emergence represents not an alternative economy competing with conventional systems, but revelation of the underlying consciousness foundation that has always governed authentic value and exchange. Kingdom economy operates on fundamentally different principles than scarcity-based systems. In kingdom economy, divine purpose determines resource allocation rather than profit maximization. This means that decisions about how to use time, energy, money, and materials are made through collective divine sensing rather than market analysis or profit projections. Communities seek God's will about resource allocation and discover that following divine guidance consistently produces better outcomes than human strategic planning. This divine guidance operates through the quantum consciousness principles we've explored. When communities align consciousness with divine purposes, they create quantum mass that attracts resources specifically suited to fulfill those purposes. The attraction occurs through quantum gravity generated by aligned consciousness rather than through human effort or manipulation. This explains why kingdom-oriented communities often experience provision that seems disproportionate to their apparent resources or conventional qualifications. Consciousness alignment creates abundance rather than competition for scarcity. In conventional economics, individuals and organizations compete for limited resources, creating win-lose scenarios where one party's gain requires another's loss. Kingdom economy operates on consciousness principles where alignment with source accesses infinite provision, creating win-win scenarios where everyone's needs can be met through divine multiplication rather than resource redistribution. This abundance creation happens through what we might call consciousness resonance, the phenomenon where multiple consciousness aligned with divine purposes amplify each other's effectiveness rather than competing for limited attention or resources. When community members support each other's divine callings and purposes, they discover that collective success exceeds the sum of individual efforts. This resonance effect operates through quantum consciousness principles, where aligned wave functions strengthen rather than interfere with each other. Collective good generates individual provision through divine flow principles. In kingdom economy, individuals discover their greatest provision and fulfillment come through serving collective, divine purposes rather than pursuing individual accumulation. This happens because consciousness, aligned with Source through service, accesses its unlimited creative potential, while consciousness, focused on individual accumulation, operates within finite resource limitations. The flow principles operate through the breathing rhythm we've explored, inhaling immediate presence with divine love and exhaling faith-based service to collective purposes. Individuals who master this rhythm discover that their personal needs are met more abundantly through service to divine purposes than through direct pursuit of personal provision. This occurs because service from divine alignment creates quantum currency that multiplies provision rather than depleting it. Eternal value supersedes temporal accumulation through focus on lasting significance. Kingdom economy prioritizes investments that produce eternal outcomes. Consciousness development, divine relationship, service to God's purposes, and spiritual legacy over temporary material accumulation. Communities discover that focusing on eternal value naturally produces superior temporal results because consciousness, aligned with eternal purposes, accesses infinite creative power. The global transformation process toward kingdom economy happens through stages that mirror consciousness evolution patterns. Individual consciousness awakening to quantum currency recognition occurs as people experience the limitations of conventional economics and become curious about alternatives based on spiritual principles rather than material competition. Community demonstration of consciousness-based economics effectiveness follows as groups of awakened individuals create living examples of kingdom economy principles. These communities serve as proof-of-concept demonstrations, showing that consciousness-based economics produce superior results in practical terms, not just spiritual idealism. Regional attraction develops as surrounding areas experience quantum gravity effects generated by kingdom economy communities. Businesses, organizations, and individuals in the region often notice improved circumstances, unexpected opportunities, and enhanced cooperation that stems from proximity to communities operating on quantum consciousness principles. This attraction effect operates beyond direct contact through the quantum fields generated by aligned consciousness. Systemic evolution toward consciousness-based rather than scarcity-based systems occurs as enough individuals and communities demonstrate kingdom economy effectiveness that conventional systems begin adopting consciousness-based elements. Financial institutions discover that consciousness-aligned investments often outperform conventional analysis. Businesses find that consciousness-based decision-making produces better results than purely rational approaches. Governments observe that consciousness-based community initiatives often succeed where conventional programs fail. This transformation accelerates exponentially as more consciousness recognizes quantum currency principles. Each aligned community creates gravitational fields, attracting others seeking authentic alternatives to conventional economic limitations. The network effects we see in digital currency adoption also apply to kingdom economy adoption. Each additional participant increases the value and effectiveness of the entire system. The emerging kingdom economy represents the practical manifestation of Yeshua's prayer. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. As consciousness awakens to quantum currency reality, divine principles begin governing material systems, creating the practical demonstration of spiritual truth that the world desperately needs to witness. Conclusion. The shift from physical to digital currency serves divine purpose by revealing what consciousness can finally perceive. The energy and focus of collective consciousness are the truer currency, As material illusions fade, quantum consciousness emerges as the fundamental force creating all authentic value and exchange. Through understanding how collective consciousness observation creates quantum mass, which builds into quantum gravity, which attracts and creates quantum currency, we glimpse the actual physics behind kingdom economics and divine provision. This isn't future possibility, but present reality, waiting for consciousness recognition. Every moment we align with the invariant set, divine consciousness, we participate in quantum currency generation. Every time we inhale immediate presence and exhale immediate faith, we engage in the divine breath that creates and circulates authentic wealth. Remember, you are not dependent on conventional currency systems for provision. Your consciousness, aligned with divine will through immediate presence and love, generates quantum currency that attracts exactly what serves God's purposes through your life. The digital currency transition prepares humanity for conscious recognition of quantum currency principles. As this awareness spreads, kingdom economy emerges naturally, demonstrating divine love and provision to regions hungry for authentic alternatives to scarcity-based systems. Throughout every financial challenge or opportunity, return to immediate presence and awareness of the Most High. Let divine consciousness generate quantum currency through your aligned awareness, trusting that consciousness connected to Source creates abundance rather than competes for limitation. If this revelation of quantum currency resonates with your understanding, please like, subscribe, and share with others ready to recognize consciousness as the fundamental creative force. Stay immediately present, move in divine love, and participate consciously in the quantum currency that flows from alignment with the Most High.